Today is Friday, December 23rd, 2016, and many of you have asked me to do this video about Adam Saleh. Now, this guy is well known to be a YouTube prankster, and I'll place a link to his channel in the box below so you can see exactly what he does. Don't just take it from me and my word for what he does. You can look at what he does. He has pranks where he dresses himself up in very, Islamic, Arabic looking clothing to scare people. And he also does like fake stunts. He just got caught recently, like last week, doing a stunt on the airplane or around the airplane about how he was in luggage and was able to get on the plane and travel that way. And it was a whole big kerfuffle. I think the airline, I'm not quite sure if it was Delta or whatever, but the airline had to come out and say that the story was not true. And then they had to come back and kind of walk it back, saying it was just a prank or it was some kind of experiment or something like that. So he just got outed last week for doing a prank like this, and he's done other pranks before. He had a prank where he dressed himself up in Islamic garb, and then he pretended to be accosted by a police officer, and it was caught on tape, him and his friend. It looked like it might have been real because the officer had on a uniform and everything else, but what ended up happening was they found out that the officer, was an actor, a paid actor to perform in the actual video. And by the way, this guy, Adam Saleh, has 1.6 million subscribers on his YouTube channel. So this is pretty much like what he does. You can make a lot of money off of that kind of, engagement and views that his videos have. So that is the kind of person you're dealing with. Somebody who is known to do, Islamic pranks, and he's done Islamic pranks on the plane before, counting down from 10 in Arabic, singing like Islamic type of stuff on the plane, just try and scare people to try and get a negative reaction so you can film it and then be like, look at me, Arabs on a plane prank, or I'm a victim or something like that. That's what he does. Now, here we have the news media. I'm not really sure if they're like oblivious to the situation. They don't know who he is or what, but they're reporting the story that he put on the internet like it was the gospel. Now, I'm not going to play it here because I know how these people are with their channels, but I'll place it in the box below, and I'll place a few pictures of it right here where he was talking about how he was just speaking Arabic on the plane. He was getting kicked off by Delta, and now he's like, boycott Delta, boycott Delta. But at the end of the day, what it was that he was getting up and shouting and saying things in Arabic to try and scare people. People were crying and everything else. And what I'm going to do right now is play some of the actual audio and video from people that were on a plane, that were witnesses, that saw him do this, that refute his story about being victimized and being profiled because he is an Arab or whatever, speaking in Arabic. So without further ado, go ahead and roll it.
This guy's a prankster. He's all over. He does this for a living.
He stood up and started shouting, putting his fist in the air, shouting something that sounded really Arabic. For no reason, sat down. A few minutes passed and then he was up again, doing it again. He did it 3 times till eventually people said, no, we're not happy with this.
People were crying. They felt so uncomfortable because it felt awkward. It was really uncomfortable.
Okay, so you see what's going on there. You see how people were saying that, hey, this guy's full of it. He's making stuff up. He was yelling, had his fist in the air. He was speaking Arabic. That is why he was summarily kicked off the plane, because he was making a ruckus. That's what it was about. And the thing is, I knew that it was BS from the beginning because he has done other things like this recently. Like I said, just last week, he got caught faking a prank involving the plane. And he has videos on his channel where he has this exact same thing that he does. I don't understand how anybody could see that and still justify what happened. People are saying, oh, well, because he's a prankster doesn't mean that it couldn't have been real. I mean, come on. Why would you think that it's real? He has a track record of doing this exact same thing. It's obvious what he was doing. And really, even if it was true, nobody should believe him because in reality, Adam Saleh is the real life version of the boy who cried wolf. Now, if you're not familiar with Aesop's tale, I'll give you a brief synopsis of it. Now, there once was a boy on a hill. He was bored and very lonely. He admired those down in the valley that were enjoying their life, communing amongst each other, talking, laughing, having fun, playing games, etc. So one day he decides, you know what? I'm going to create some excitement for myself. I'm going to give some attention. I'm going to say there's a wolf up here. So he does it. People come running, and then there's no wolf there. But he remembers as time progresses how much excitement he felt and how much attention he got from crying the wolf even though there was none, because people still had to come up there to check on them to see what was going on, right? So then he calls wolf, wolf again. The villagers come, give him a bunch of attention, search for the wolf. There's no wolf. The next time he does it, he cries, wolf, wolf. It's at night. The villagers pretty much just put the pillows over their head and say, you know what? We're not going to deal with it because the last few times we came up there was no wolf. But this time the wolf ate the boy. So the moral of the story is you keep telling lies of the exact same thing. At a certain point, nobody will believe you. It doesn't even really matter if it's true or if it's false. That is the whole point of Adam Saleh and his whole kerfuffle here. But I digress. At the end of the day, this type of thing, shouting and stuff on the plane, that will get you kicked off regardless of what. It doesn't matter if you're a prankster. It doesn't matter if you're speaking in Arabic, if you're speaking in English, if you're speaking in Chinese, Mandarin. It doesn't matter what you do. If you make all that commotion on the airplane, you will get removed. And that was the thing that happened. And that was the correct thing to happen. So that's pretty much all I got for it. It's a pretty open and shut case. Adam Saleh is a big fat liar, a phony, a fraud, a so-called prankster. And most of these pranks that are on YouTube are fake. You know, it's been found out later. I think Joey Salads got found out. And these people, they don't even really care. That's the thing. I saw an interview with Joey Salads on H3H3. Shout out to H3H3. And he was interviewing him. Ethan from H3H3 was interviewing Joey Salads. And the answers that the guy was giving was just like real nonchalant, like he didn't really care. And they don't care because at the end of the day, they see it from the perspective of a YouTuber trying to make money, trying to make a living. He's looking at the numbers, and that's all he really cares about. He doesn't care about if people are upset, if people take it to the extreme and do things to people because of this. They don't really care about that. They don't really care how far and wide their video may go and who it may impact. They're just looking at it from a really cold and emotionless perspective. It's all about how to make money, how to get views. It's not about being truthful. It's not about being honest. It's not about being virtuous. They don't care. And that's exactly what this guy, Adam Saleh, is. So all the media attention, all this stuff is really just unwarranted, and it's fake news. And that's the thing about it. The mainstream media, as I close, the mainstream media wants to talk about all this fake news that so-called impacted the election. But what about the times they keep reporting false stories and don't really issue a retraction that's as loud or at all of the original story? You know, I saw this original story on Nightly News, CBS. I've not seen a retraction on the same news stories. If I'm wrong about that, please provide a link in the comments below. I've not seen any retraction from Lester Holt or from CBS or anyone else, ABC, CNN. I've not seen that on TV, even though there should be. It's a lot of these fake news stories that get parroted all throughout the mainstream media that they think are real at the time. It's funny how they want to talk about certain fake news. I think it's only the fake news that they call fake. Some things they call fake are actually not fake, or they have not been proven to be fake. It's funny how they were so quick to just say that the pizzagate story was completely fake, but then they'll just take this story from this known YouTube prankster with 1.6 million subscribers and as the gospel. Don't interview any witnesses. Don't talk to Delta. Just take his word for the gospel and just say, hey, we think this happened because he's an Arab guy. He's speaking in Arabic or whatever. But we know how the mainstream media is. And like I said previously, at a certain point, they can't lie to us anymore. We know what's going on. We know that they're going to put out fake news. We watch the news skeptically at this point, believing whatever we want, because we know that a lot of it is going to be BS or is going to be represented in a false way to make us believe something that's not true. They can present true information in an incorrect way, right? They can give their own personal spin and opinion on it to make it appear to be a bad thing when it in fact is a good thing. Talking about Syria and Russia and everything else like they're bad people. Meanwhile, Syrian government and Russia have liberated Aleppo. They want to say Aleppo fell. But I digress. I'm rambling at this point. My point is that the mainstream media is full of lies. And this guy, Adam Saleh, is just one more example. So what do you think? Do you think that this story was obviously fake from the beginning? Do you know who Adam Saleh is? If you did not know who he was, do you still think this was obviously fake from the beginning? No, you seeing one side of it. All you're seeing is the back end. You seeing him recording himself, talking about what happened, but you're not seeing what happened in the actual incident. You're not hearing anything from the witnesses that were right there, which I played earlier. Or do you think that this is something that's common, even though it's been proven to be fake? It's been like, that's not a question. It's been proven. You got witnesses that said it was fake. Even though it's been proven to be fake, do you still think this was an important video to highlight the atrocities that happened towards people of Arabic Muslim descent on an airplane? The only thing I've really seen in the mainstream media as far as these kind of incidents are concerned are fake things, like the woman who had her hijab removed. I think it was in Brooklyn. Those stories have been proven to be fake. If you have a real story of a hate crime or something like that against somebody of Islamic descent, please provide that in the comments below. I love to see it. I'm not a one-sided person, but you got to be able to prove what you say. Don't be a liar like Adam Saleh. So whatever your comments are, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.